Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a brand new palette that has launched at Sephora. It is from Melt Cosmetics and it is called the Impulsive Palette. If that is a palette you are interested in learning about a little bit more, make sure you keep on watching, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Ever since Melt Cosmetics became available at Sephora Canada's website, I have been dying to get my hands on some of the products. I have wanted to use Melt Cosmetics eyeshadows for a very long time, but if memory serves me correctly, their website charged a ridiculous amount for shipping, and with the conversion of US dollars to Canadian dollars, it just didn't make sense for me to order online and have it shipped to my house. And then one year I went to IMATS Toronto, and I think it was Beauty Friends or Friends Beauty, something like that. They ended up having a bunch of the Melt Cosmetics stacks, and so I was able to swatch them and I loved everything about the eyeshadow formula. It was buttery, pigmented, and super creamy. It's basically everything you've ever wanted in an eyeshadow, but the prices again were still a little bit too high, so I decided to pass on them. And now that Sephora has started to carry Melt Cosmetics, I have finally been given access to these eyeshadows. And for a while I wanted to get the Smoke Show, I think that's what it's called, a palette. I'll pop a picture up here for you so you guys know what I'm talking about. But I found that I already had a lot of similar colors from Clionadh Cosmetics. I had bought a bunch of singles from Emmy Cosmetics or M Cosmetics. I've got a ton of colors that I think I can duplicate. So I decided to leave that palette behind, and then I was going to buy the Baby Girl stack, but I decided against that because I saw the Impulsive palette. I felt like this one was just giving me more variety of tones, and I could play with a couple of different finishes a little bit more. It just felt more versatile in general. So I opted for this particular eyeshadow palette, which did set me back 86 Canadian dollars plus tax. So that's a good chunk of change, and I definitely had high expectations for this eyeshadow palette. It did arrive 2 days ago, and I've been playing with it ever since it arrived on my doorstep, and I am so happy that I ordered this palette. It has definitely surpassed all of my expectations thus far, and even though I haven't been able to play with this for an extensive period of time, I do feel like I have a good handle on the eyeshadow formula and how these apply to the eyes. Having said all of that, let's dive into the actual palette. It does come in this beautiful box right here, which I love. I think this is such a cute package because it's got all of these adorable photographs, I think, of the co-founders and everybody who is a part of the Melt Cosmetics team. It's just kind of a memory box, which I think is adorable. All of these fun little pictures, and you obviously have your ingredients and all pertinent information on the back of this palette, but I think the carton is just adorable. I'm actually going to hang on to this because it's that pretty, and I never hang on to packaging. When you pull the palette out of the box, it looks like this. It is a pretty hefty palette, and it has some weight to it, folks. This has to weigh a couple of pounds at least. It is really heavy because the packaging is quite sturdy, and guys, I was so shocked at this packaging. I opened this palette up and I was greeted by all of these eyeshadows. They are all stacked beautifully. I love the color story in here, and there's a really good range of shimmers, metallics, foils, and matte colors. The palette itself is made of a cardboard. It does have a magnetic closure. There's no mirror from what I've been able to deduce and what you guys are seeing here, but hopefully you can see the way these colors are stacked. And I don't know if that's attributed to the stacks that the original eyeshadows come in, and this is, I don't know, just paying homage to that, or if it's just done to look fancy. Regardless, I like it. I was on the Sephora website, and yes, I'm gonna put my glasses on for this because I'm as blind as a bat. Sorry for the glare of the light. But I was reading a little bit of additional information about this palette, and it does say that it is an 18 shade palette of brilliant metallics and bold mattes that tell the story of Melt Cosmetics and the fans who made the dream a reality. So I feel like this is such a great homage to all of the patrons of the brand, all of the fans, the co-founders, just everything. It's such a lovely story. One side of the palette is inspired by the early years of Melt and the friendship between co-founders Laura and Dana, that started it all. It showcases cool tone shimmers and holographic foils, while the other side features dangerously bold mattes and vivid shimmers inspired by the brand's fun and fearless Melt fam. This palette is labeled as a pressed pigment palette, but the only pigment that I've been able to identify according to the ingredients on the back is Go Getter. The back of the package says that this one is not safe for eye use, so use at your own peril essentially, but we know how we all feel about pressed pigments. They're fine to use on your eyes, at least I've never had any issues, but be aware there could be a little bit of staining with them. Let's talk about the ingredients a little, and again, I'm gonna put my glasses on. When I did look at the ingredient list at the back of the box, it does say that it is a mica based formula. This formula does also contain mineral oils, which isn't ideal. I don't actually like mineral oils in my eyeshadows, but it does help with the slip and the application. You've also got olive oil in here as well as jojoba oil, so I feel like some of these ingredients are very hydrating, very nutrient rich, so it's okay to have these on your eyes for an extended period of time. Who knows, there might even be a benefit to applying this eyeshadow, some sort of skincare benefit that is. You do have quite a few dimethicones in the formula as well, which is what makes these shadows so buttery and slippery. And then in terms of ingredients that might act as irritants, they're listed as the shadow formula might contain these, so it's not directly in the ingredients, but it might contain titanium dioxide, again, which is known to be an irritant. I do see Red Lake 40 in here. There is also bismuth oxychloride, carmine, and ultramarines. So all of those can irritate anybody who does have very sensitive eyes, so always do a patch test before you fully slap these shadows all over your eyes. This is not a vegan palette. I just mentioned that it contains carmine, which is crushed beetles, and there is no sign that these shadows are vegan according to the box. It is made in the USA, and it's got a shelf life of 12 months, which seems to be pretty standard for most eyeshadow palettes. I've been creating a lot of bold eyeshadow looks lately, so I decided to do something a little more neutral, maybe a little less bold than what I have been accustomed to creating. And so I played with the more neutral tones in this eyeshadow palette, and I did film myself putting all of these on so you guys can see exactly how these shadows performed. I ended up starting with Rule Breaker, which is this medium toned orange color up here. I wanted to get that all over my crease, but more on the top end of my crease, closer towards my eyebrow, because I wanted to create a bit of a gradient effect, because I knew I wanted Boss Lady, this beautiful purple color down here, to be put right into my crease. After Rule Breaker, I ended up going into this color down here called Dream Big. This is more of a dark burnt orange, and it is stunning. It was so pigmented when it went on, but it blended so easily. There was no patchiness. Everything was just blown out in such an easy way. I didn't even have to work that hard at blending, to be entirely honest with you. After Dream Big, I did go in with Boss Lady, and Boss Lady, I did apply a couple of layers because I wanted to make sure that would be nice and bold as I dug it into my crease. It was a great color to build up. I felt like it was pretty easy to blend out, and honestly, I had no complaints about that color. The mattes in this palette do have a little bit of kick up in the pan. That's not something that bothers me, but for anyone who is irritated by that, well, there you go, now you know. After laying down all of those matte colors, I did switch to this side of the palette, and I went into popping bottles. Normally I would cut my crease at this point, but I felt like this shade was going to be bright enough that I wouldn't need a little bit of concealer on my lid, that I could just go right over all of the eyeshadow and put that on top. And boy, was I impressed when this color went on. It was so metallic. It's got some glitter in it. It just looks beautiful. I love how it reflects in the light. It looks like a champagne tone in the pan, but when you actually look at it really closely, or you have light right up against your eye and you're kind of twirling around a little bit, it does have holographic glitter embedded in it, which is what gives it such a beautiful shine. And that's why I feel like that shade in particular can be so versatile with a bunch of different mattes. I think you can actually pair it with all of the matte colors in this palette. What I am gonna say about popping bottles is that it is very, very soft. I don't know if you guys can see this really clearly, but there is a dent in my eyeshadow pan now because I was digging my brush in there so I can get the pigment out to put on my eyes. So if there's one thing that I will caution you with, is that all of these metallic or foiled colors are gonna be very soft in the pan. You won't have any problems with the pigmentation, but they can be a little bit crumbly when you initially put on. There is gonna be fallout, so make sure you do your eyes before your foundation, or at least put down some loose powder or a shadow shield to protect all of the hard work that you've done for your base. I think all of the colors are gonna have that issue, and I know this because when I went into CEO to just add a little bit of depth and dimension in my outer corner, I noticed the exact same thing. It was just a very soft eyeshadow, and there's a nice little dent in there too. This palette isn't for the faint of heart. I do think it is an easy eyeshadow formula to work with, but a lot of the tones are on the cooler side, and they are a little bit darker than maybe some other palettes that are warm tone but a little on the lighter side. You are going to be creating quite a few smoky eyeshadow looks, I think, with this particular color story, but there are some tones in here that you can use that can definitely keep things on the light side. So what I'm trying to say is, if you like the dark and smoky look, this is a really great palette to pick up. If these aren't exactly your tones, I'd probably say take a look at some of the other palettes that Melt has come out with. I think Gemini is one that is a little more on the warmer slash lighter side. They have Smoke Show, which is a really cool green tone palette that's got some golds embedded in it. And then they also have all of their stacks as well that you might want to see. I think they come in a bunch of different color stories. I would not hesitate to recommend this palette, and if you have some extra money lying around and you're looking to invest in a brand new palette from a recent launch, then I would definitely say get your hands on this palette. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I feel like this is the time of the year when we're having a bunch of new launches. New palettes are coming out, new foundations, new products, skincare, you name it, it's all starting to launch on Sephora's website and otherwise. So when you have a moment, head down to the comment section and let me know what are some of the new launches that you are excited to get your hands on, or at least see some reviews about. And that's gonna do it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know the drill. Give this video a big thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I have gotten a couple of messages from some subscribers who have said they're not seeing some of my new videos pop up. So what I would recommend you do is just turn on the notification bell. It's right next to the subscribe button, so that way you're sent an email and you're notified every time you pop on YouTube when I have uploaded a new video. If you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube and see some of the other looks that I'm going to create with this eyeshadow palette, make sure you follow me on all of my social media. I am on Facebook Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. However, I am probably most active on my Instagram and Twitter. And for your convenience, I will have all of those social media links in the description box below. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you are all having an incredible day, no matter where you are in the world. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.